Eddie Howe and Newcastle United have parted ways. We're going to talk about this and more. Plus, the man to take over, Mr. Matthias Jaissle. Who is he? What is he about? And what's happening with the Newcastle project? Find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Brilliant from Share. And now Murphy could take on the shot. Fabian Share
All right, folks. Great to have you guys all here. Apologies for my for the taking of time. A lot has changed. I was on my way to work. I had a whole different type of show planned for today, discussing possible Eddie Howe tactics and everything else. But then I look at my phone, and then in big bold writing, I think it was Fabrizio Romano's post. Eddie Howe has left Newcastle United. So let's get you guys' views. Let's get everybody's interactions. What you guys think about this? Please do continue to like, share, and subscribe. Plus, Matthias Jaissle, the man to take over. We've got all sorts of breakdown about the man himself, his managerial philosophy, his tactics, how Newcastle could look under Mr. Jaissle. What would be who would be his tactical approach? Who would be the players? How would they look? What would be the kind of attacking? Who would be the players, the personnel that he would use? Who do we still need to get? Because I'm not convinced. I don't think Newcastle have stopped shopping just yet. I think there's a lot more to come, a lot more to go in terms of personnel, especially to now change up how Newcastle will play under Mr. Jaissle and everything else. So we're going to be talking about that on tonight's show. Before we get into it, we're obviously going to be talking about Eddie's exit. We're going to be talking about there's a raft of information that's going on. Joe Linton possibly not playing or refusing to play or saying he wants to go somewhere else. Obviously, they've got a whole situation with Mr. Bruno Guimaraes. We're going to touch on all these things and more, and it's going to take you guys' input to be able to break things down. Okay, so let's get into it. Let me make sure I got everybody's chat. I'm good to see my man. Well, I don't know if it's your first time to the show. If it's not, apologies, but great to have Pod. God bless you. So business is about to pick up. What makes you say that? Let me know. What makes you say that? Toon Nevs, welcome to the show. God bless you. Mad day in the Toon. Honestly, even by Toon standards, it's a mad day. Honestly. Rival fans, I've been watching all sorts of programs. I don't think they know what to think of it. I can see it from an external point of view, but also from a fan point of view. It looks messy and everything else on top of that. It's a reset, but it's reset Newcastle United style. For sure. Jonathan, good to see you. God bless you. He says, hi, Philip. I'm so fed up with everything going on with Newcastle United. This season is going to be bad. Look, you get what you get what you you get what you receive. Before we get into that, we'll talk about all of it some more in terms of what people think, how the season is shaping up and what's going on. I haven't made up my mind. I'm not going to make my mind until the transfer window closes and everything else. So I'm keen to get you guys' views. Let me know what it is for you, Jonathan. Why do you think it's going to turn out bad? What could change it around for you? What could change it around for you as well? That's what's important to know. You work at Newcastle United? Oh, geez. You're not one of the scouts, are you, Jonathan? Good to see my man James here. Says, hi, mate. Phil was a huge surprise, to be honest, but I see some qualities from people that understand his tactics are good to be very interesting for this team, for this German. Absolutely. And we are going to be talking about that as well. Good to see my man Adrian here. So let's start from the top. let's start from the top. Like I said, there's a lot to break down, and some things are going to be more in depth. I'm going to talk about more in depth than others. Some we're going to touch on, but it will kind of interlink with everything else that we've talked about. All right, so let's start off with the departure. Obviously, Mr. Eddie Howe. Now, I want to bring up because there's a lot about and you can't read every single story, right? Because everybody's got a theory. A lot of journalists, there's a battle from the journalists about who knows what exactly is going on, why Eddie Howe left, what was the situation, what was the reason. Everybody's, gunning for it and saying that they've got the answer, right? I took off my thing there for a minute. Here we go. And nobody's got the answer, right? So I'm gonna go with a story, not that necessarily that I think I believe more than others necessarily, but one that it's like a starting point. It's a starting point, and I'll be keen to get from you guys views. What's your input? What's your thoughts about what is actually going on necessarily? I saw Mr. What's his name? Luke Edwards says, "Oh, I tried to talk him out of it. It didn't work out. He was a bit. He went away on holiday, came back. He was tired about all the social media stuff. Luke Edwards claims he tried to talk him out of it. That he had some sort of influence on it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. There's other people that are saying it's because Bruno's leaving, Tonali's leaving. I don't think it's to do anything with player departure necessarily, because Eddie Howe would have known weeks, months in advance. Bruno told him, Joe Linton told him, Tonali, they knew about Tonali, they knew about Gordon, and he's still staying. So I personally think it's a mixture of things, right? I'm going to get into it, and I want to get you guys food for thought on this absolute sensational situation going on at Newcastle United. So this is from Keith Downie. He goes, why Eddie Howe left Newcastle, the inside story of the Magpies trophy-winning manager's departure. And he says right at the top, and this is from today, Eddie Howe's decision to leave Newcastle United has been taken following discussions with the club's hierarchy, although the 48-year-old had started the ball rolling on a potential departure a number of weeks ago. Sky Sports' Keith Downie tells the inside story. Now, some people said that this started 2 weeks ago. It's interesting that the Sky News isn't putting a number on it. Like, was it 2 weeks ago? Was it 3 weeks ago? Was it 1 week ago? Right? So that's the interesting part about it. I don't know. Let's see some more. So Eddie Howe questioned whether it was time for a change and suggested that perhaps the Newcastle team needed new energy following the defeat to Fulham on the final day of the season. So that gives you a clue. That's a huge clue. We was just wondering how many weeks ago. Well, it was the final day of the season. Final day of the season today. I think I'm running out of energy here. Which I don't blame. And the thing is, not enough I've seen, and I'm sure there are, and online is online and whatever, but I don't think people understand that for 2 years flat, especially, Eddie Howe has had to be sporting director and Newcastle manager because, as I keep saying, one sporting director betrayed the club in Dan Ashworth by being tapped up and talking to Man United while he's got access to our scouting reports. The other sporting director neglected his duties, in fact, abandoned the club 24 hours before the window opened, which put us in disarray and highly, highly vulnerable and led to a poor window. So Eddie Howe had to take over. It's beyond me. But, this whole thing about Eddie Howe wanting to be sporting director. But anyway, he's been working out flat. He got tired. Remember, he had pneumonia, which can kill people. And he ran out of energy. He literally ran out of energy. So this is the first summer where he had a holiday off. So he's already told them, look, I'm thinking about leaving. And I think they told him, go away on holiday and come back and let us know how you feel. That's what I'm beginning to think, right? Anyway, it goes on to say, talks took place 2 days later after the Fulham game. And everyone at the club left feeling aligned, so together, that he would continue he told the club and reporters that he was all in. Okay, so followed the season at Fulham. 2 days later, he said, I don't want, I'm run out of energy. I don't want this anymore. Then 2 days later, they met up again. They said, and before he went on holiday, they said, no, okay, fine, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll come back and everything will be okay. And he told everybody. And we all know that. How then enjoyed a family holiday for the first time in 2 years and returned for pre-season to bring up the same point. He came back. He came back and said, "Oh, you know what? You know what I said to you guys at the Fulham game? I don't think I have the energy for this." He had time to think and realize he had taken the club as far as he could. What does that mean? What do you guys make of that? Is it to do with his, ideas, energy? Does he feel that is it really that he feels the club has left its hit its ceiling? It can't go any further. What's you guys' thoughts on that, right? But for Howe, he said he can't take it. He didn't feel that he could take it any further. I do wonder in between that time when he was on holiday, when he's thinking about things. I imagine he was talking to his players. He was talking to Bruno. He was talking to Joe Linton. He was talking to various players. He was probably adding things up. He was talking to his staff. He was talking to his missus. And whatever it was, he probably realized in himself that I can't do any more. Anyway, he goes on to say, during that time, Newcastle had sold Tonali and Anthony Gordon for 170 million. And in combined, and Bruno Guimaraes told the club he wanted to move to Arsenal. So all of his big guys were leaving on top of that as well. Again, things that he would have been well aware of regardless. But that still obviously hurts. And even if you do want to start and you do want to try again, maybe you are thinking, how am I going to do that without my best guys? Newcastle, then he goes on to say, Newcastle had been busy delving into the market themselves to sign younger, less experienced players. Howe said publicly that he backed the signings and everyone at the club was aligned. Right? But but and if are the words that can change social policies, laws, marriages, success, failure, those type of words. But privately, he was aware the season ahead was going to be a big challenge. Fair enough. The transfer moves, goes on for to say, the transfer moves weren't the reason for his decision. Okay, so that's the clear part. It wasn't the transfer moves that were the transfer moves weren't the reason for his decisions. However, another word that changes whether someone says I do or I don't, or peace or war or success or failure. However, he was exhausted after nearly 5 years at the helm. But the loss of Gordon, Tonali, and a conversation with his captain, Bruno Guimaraes, did not help. The guys that he raised up, he developed, his lieutenants, his guys were no longer at the club. And he knew the big challenge that was ahead. He didn't feel that he could do it himself. He goes on to say, he couldn't shake that gut feeling after returning from his holiday. Multiple senior figures asked him to think about it, but he was upfront and honest and said he had made his decisions. What do you guys think about the fact that the owners but certainly senior figures really wanted him to stay? And regardless of what some online fans and and I understand people have different views on Eddie Howe or not, he was a great manager. Still is a great manager. And the owners recognized that. And it goes on to say, and that's why they wanted to stay. That's why they wanted to keep him. So it goes on to say he was looking wary too, and it was picked up by reporters at their preseason friendly against Gateshead last week. It's worth remembering that former Bournemouth manager was hospitalized with pneumonia last April and has not had a proper break to recover properly. Newcastle accepted it was a time for, as I said, that is important. Newcastle accepted it was a time. Rest is important. Newcastle accepted it was time for a change and asked for him to stay on until the replacement in situ. So I do think this is more than 2 weeks ago, in my opinion. So for over 2 weeks, they have continued. So and Sky, I want to say, is over 2 weeks, not just like 2 weeks ago they decided. It's over 2 weeks ago. This has been like this since the Fulham game. They have continued as if everything was okay, but obviously that's when things are a little bit more finalized. While Newcastle have worked diligently in the background to replace the 48-year-old, so today has not come as a shock to club hierarchy. So pretty much does look, it does look tired there. Jeez Louise. So the club were aware, for sure. Goes on to say this was a decision made by Howe himself and not the club. He knew his time had come. That part's interesting. Now, obviously, it depends on who the sources are who gave this information. I believe it's someone from Eddie Howe himself, someone from his camp. I'm sure owners and senior reporters from the club, senior figures from the club, also gave their take on this as well. But it seems to be the case himself that it's Eddie Howe himself, rather than the owners pushed him out. That was the case. Now, you can read between the lines and say, yeah, but it was very clear, for instance, Ross Wilson and Hopkinson were the ones in charge of the transfer window. Rumors abound that Eddie Howe, for instance, wanted Lucas Chevalier for goalkeeper, and they said, no, we're getting this guy Horsnick. By the way, we've got a new goalkeeper, guys. We're going to be talking about him a little bit later. We want Horsnick, and so things like that. Then Eddie Howe's like, okay, you can. This isn't about me anymore. He goes on to say, the message was relayed to his backroom staff last night. So this is a shock to everybody at the front, to the guys that are around him, as they landed back in Newcastle for pre-season defeat at Bristol City. Newcastle have pinpointed German manager Matthias Jaissle, and he is on the verge of being appointed as Howe's successor. Hence the timing of the Howe departure news this morning. Al Hilal's Jaissle will link up with the squad in La Manga. That's a way to start pre-season training. They fly out tomorrow. What a way to start. Once his appointment is announced. A couple more things here before we move on. Interestingly, Newcastle sporting director Wilson appointed Ralph Hasenhüttl from Red Bull Group, because that's where Jaissle comes from. He was in charge of Southampton. Now he has suggested Jaissle to PIF. The German previously had 2 years in charge of RB Salzburg. Questions have been asked as to whether the PIF link is the reason Newcastle have opted for Jaissle, but I understand, as Keith Downie, it has nothing to do with the Saudi links. Exit actually weakens Saudi links. Excuse me. Newcastle have opted for Jaissle, but I understand it was nothing to do with the Saudi links, as Jaissle's exit actually weakens one of their clubs. The 38-year-old is seen as an energetic front foot manager who plays a similar style to Eddie Howe and therefore will suit the existing players. And I do think that's the case. He's going to be energetic. Newcastle Premier League curtain raiser is at home to Liverpool in 24 days. Just to remind, I like the last sentence. There's not the last sentence, there's a little bit more going on, but I'm not going to read the rest of it. But what's interesting is that is true. We play Liverpool in just over 3 weeks, 24 days. Oh gosh, it's going to be phenomenal. So let me know what you guys think of all of this. Before what was the plan for me to go? What was I going to do next? So I know my story, because there's tons. There is tons. That can't be it. We were, his exit. Then we're going to talk about, Mr. Jaissle himself. Okay. So let me know what you guys think. My overall thoughts are reading that, and I know there's always going to be tons of little things. I do think he was tired, physically, mentally, and emotionally. What and did not help him to feel less tired is obviously players that he wanted to stay to leave. And probably I think not only I think the quality on the pitch maybe or what he was worried about was on the pitch, but more to do with players backing his message and what he was going to do, and in terms of what he needed to be done on the pitch. And he probably felt that this is no longer my home, this is no longer my house. And the direction of the club where the direction of the club is heading to. What's interesting for Eddie Howe is it'll be interesting to see who and where he manages next, because this would be a very similar model in a lot of the clubs that are currently operating here in the current Premier League system. So I think it's a little bit of everything. I think the main thing is that the challenge is massive. Make no doubt about it. We've already had three top Gordon, Tonali, and somebody else. Bruno's about to leave, right? Joe Linton wants to leave, which is fine. And we've already got the vultures circling around Lewis Hall. And the fact that rival clubs think it's open season is bad enough in itself in terms of Newcastle players going on. You need maybe he just it's a very interesting time to come in, and it is a matter of perspective, right? It is a matter of perspective. Someone like Eddie Howe, who's already run this course, is just seeing tiredness, and he's seeing it with tired eyes, and doesn't have the challenge, doesn't have the motivation to meet the challenge anymore. But someone like Jaissle, 38 years old, is thinking, yeah, we're gonna start. I can do something here. This is an opportunity for me to create this club, this team in my own image. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying. Jonathan says, no, I do security to work for the club. Okay, fair enough. Thanks, Jonathan. Let me know if you hear anything. James says, wasn't expecting you to delay the show for me, but thanks. Life of Follow says, I think the players. Oh, God bless you. Good to see you, by the way. I think the players we have brought are for him. As you see that every signing Eddie didn't meet first, it was always Ross Wilson. Aren't for him, you mean? Okay. They're for the club, I think, isn't it? They're for the club. James says, and we've been saying it for a while, it looks like a 4-2-3-1, and we'll see what Jaissle plays a variation of a 4-3. We're going to talk about 4-3. I'm going to say 4-3, 1-2, 4-4-2. Very, very rarely 4-2-3-1, to be honest. But he does adjust to different teams. Adrian says, frankly, Phil, I think the pneumonia followed by the summer Isak shambles knocked the stuffing out of Eddie. Yeah, honestly. Honestly, we can't underplay that anymore. That was just an insane time for everybody, and for him especially. That took its toll. James says, I think it was pneumonia, frankly, just didn't help it at all. He needs some good time off, that he needs to rethink what he does next. Absolutely. Villafan, good to see you. Villafan, God bless you. He says, wow, was not expecting this. no, neither was I, Villafan. Okay, here we go. Villafan says, the recruitment stitched Eddie, but I doubt that helped either. In the days of football, you have to be perfect in Windows, especially with the margin of error both of our clubs have, isn't it? Honestly, good to see my man registered Kev. God bless you. Said hello. I knew it. Before I even read it, I knew what I was going to say. Hello, Philip. Can you send Lewis Hall a note? Won't be much longer until he's home. Well, his home is Newcastle United, my friend. He's a Geordie. And you guys don't know if you've got the guap needed to get him. But big up, Register Kev. Phyllis says, I've been impressed by João Gomez so far. I really hope he does well this season. He's a good player. He is a good player. Adrian says, Florian Plattenberg, a man in controversy with Fabrizio Romano, by the way. Says, Florian Plattenberg says, Jaissle deal is done. Yeah, absolutely. I think actually there's some rumors also that they're planning to do some, goodbye video with Jaissle coming over, and they're doing it either doing it together or he'll be in the video somehow as well, which I think would be really, really good. That'd be a really good way of showing succession and change. I still rate the way Liverpool did it when Arne Slot came and, they had the whole kind of like goodbye party in the stadium together with the fans. I know that has happened so rarely in football. I don't think I've ever seen it. I think that was incredible. So if the rumors are true, that obviously they're putting together this exit type of video together, interview together, or obviously Eddie Howe's going to do it, and then Jaissle's going to do it, or they're somehow in it together. I think that's the best way to show succession, to show change, especially when to the external, justifiably so, to the external angle from what people are seeing at Newcastle. It just looks insane. It looks mad. It looks everything is just, players are going, players are coming in, managers are going, it's just all over the place. You probably need a video like that to settle things down, to show unity, to show us some form of order. That's the word I'm looking for. Some form of order going on at the club. So if that is happening, that will be absolutely amazing. So I think we're all we're pretty much kind of saying the same thing. It's not just a one thing; it's a multiple of things. It's not transfers, so transfers in there for their sake. He's not sitting there thinking, I can't believe Bruno's leaving. I can't believe Gordon's leaving. I can't, he's already aware of these things, but he's also aware of that's one of the situations, but it's not as big a situation. The situation is pneumonia. The situation is the challenge ahead. He knows the club needs to change. He knows the model needs to change in order for us to compete. But does he have it in him? Does he have the reserve? Does he have the energy? And he looked deep within himself, clearly. And he really knew earlier on, and he wanted to stay on, right? And he said, I can't do it. I can't do it. And he did it in a way where we're still in pre-season. It gives the opportunity for the manager 3 weeks. It gives Mr. Jaissle 3 weeks to put in his ideas. And that's what pre-season's for anyway. There was always going to be new shapes, new tactics, and somebody else can now bring it in and do their thing. So we will see what happens. All right, so we're going to move on to Mr. Jaissle himself. Before we do that, there's a couple more chats that have been coming in. Register Kev says, big up my bro. It's funny because I joined and 15 seconds later I hear you say vultures circling around. It was what's the word? It was meant to be. Yeah, Adrian, he does want that Saudi move. We're going to talk about J7. That's because there's an odd report. He does want the Saudi move, but as far as we know, the Saudi clubs, maybe they have, but they're not picking him up just yet. Good to see my man Andrew. Says, good evening, guys. How's everyone feeling? For me, I am feeling a lot. I felt a lot throughout the day, but I'm actually getting to. It's in my mind. It's beginning to formalize and marinate, and I'm realigning myself as I'm talking to you guys. James says any higher than 50 million is below market value market rate for the club. But for who? Yeah, absolutely. I just don't want to sell him, honestly. James says, Phil, did you end up grabbing the team of Matthias? I looked at his tactics. We're going to talk about that, if that's what you mean. Absolutely. Andrew says, Jaissle had to sell his best players, replace them, rebuild in both seasons. He was there. He did. Villa fan says, so if Joelinton and Tonali leave, that's your entire midfield gone in one window, which could be hard replacing in this window. Possibly. Joelinton, not so much. We're not worried too much so much. God bless him. We love him. Oh, Bruno. Yeah, Bruno. Joelinton, Tonali. We're still trying to sell Joe Willock, by the way. Put it this way, out of the 6 midfielders, only Ramsey and Miley remain. Obviously, we've got 2 new ones in Sturt and Bamba. And obviously, we're going to be talking a little bit some of the news that are coming in. I don't think it's, when I say it's not going to be as difficult, we've got time, and I think they're already talking to players. It's already in the works. I personally think we will replace them. What the level of quality is, we don't know, but I'm hopeful. Put it that way. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Jaissle. But if you guys feel free to continue talking about how everything you want to do, we're going to be putting that chat. But I'm going to keep things moving because we've got tons of stuff to talk about, to be honest. All right, so Mr. Jaissle, breaking news. Oops, sorry, that's in a way. I need to read this a little bit. Breaking news: Matthias Jaissle is close to becoming the new Newcastle United manager. He is the top candidate and should be confirmed soon. Now, according to Mr. Plattenberg. In fact, let me go to that. Let me go to this one now. Thank you, Adrian, for letting me know. In fact, let me try and find this right now. If Mr. Plattenberg has confirmed this. You know, I'm just talking to you guys. I realized, by the way, we had a what do you call it? We don't even get time to talk about the what am I saying? We don't even get time to talk about the what do you call it? The preseason games because there's just so much going on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It doesn't look like it's Plattenberg. It looks like Patrick Berger, but let me see if it is Plattenberg. Because I've got Patrick Berger here, Adrian. Did you mean Patrick Berger? Florian Plattenberg. I'll bring it up as soon as if he's. No, he did it. Yeah, right. Brilliant. All right, so let's bring that up. Okay, so it has been confirmed. It has been confirmed. Thank you, Agent, for letting me know. Literally 19 minutes ago by Mr. Florian Plattenberg, Mr. Florian Warlord Plattenberg. Matthias Jaissle to Newcastle United is indeed a done deal, as reported earlier today. Jaissle was keen on Newcastle United job. It's good to hear somebody's keen on Newcastle to replace Eddie Howe. Personal terms are 100% agreed. Immediate move decided. Newcastle set to activate his release clause. He's got a release clause, which is interesting. Al Ali informed the 38-year-old will sign a contract until 2030 in the next days. Big contract. It's a 4-year contract, which is very, very interesting in itself. What do you guys make of the length of the contract? All right, so let's get ourselves. What do you guys think of the length of the contract? I want to know that. Because this is how you know I'm on a rush, or I was in a rush putting this together. I've got a broad outline of what Mr. Matthias Jaissle is about. So I want to hear what you guys have got. Obviously, I've got the tactic stuff. I'm going to get into the tactic stuff in a moment. But I want to get his background on where is it? Okay, here we go. I'll give a brief background on him, or like a framework of his background on him off of the old Google I mode, but with a little bit more in depth, talking about tactics, how it could look on Newcastle United. I want to say this from the top, and I want to hear what you guys your knee-jerk instinctive impression was when you heard of Jaissle, when you heard a bit more about his background, where he's from, what he does. What was your kind of knee-jerk reaction? Mine was, first of all, who's Matthias Jaissle, literally. Then when I heard he's 38 years old, then I thought, wow, I'm older than my manager. 3, I thought, oh, he's in Saudi Arabia. And I thought, oh, PIF. And I thought, okay, so everything now is PIF, from the CEO to the sporting director and now to the manager. PIF, Newcastle is PIF. That's the first thing I thought, which again makes me, which I also continue to think, how when people keep on saying PIF have given up, they're going to sell the club, when the opposite to me is happening. If anything, PIF are stamping their name over everything, over manager, over sporting director, over CEO, over the club model, over the players, everything is PIF, right? So that was the main thing as well. But then, and as we're going to go into it, is obviously finding out a little bit more about Mr. Jaissle himself. Because I didn't initially think, okay, so obviously before I read further stuff, I was like, Saudi League. I'm like, boy, 38 years old, boy. In fact, it goes back to my thoughts, and you guys will notice about it's almost like the players that we're buying so far this season. All 4 players, about to be 5, with a goalkeeper. Mr. Horsnick is the oldest of the players that we've bought so far. He's 22, 23 years old. All the other players are 20 and 19. One of them's 19, that's Sean Sturr. The rest of them, Buzmana Torre, Bamba, the goalkeeper Joanna, all 20 years old. And I remember doing the show with you guys talking about, high ceilings, but also risk. We don't know what's going to happen with these players. We bought these players before they were who we think they're going to be, right? And compare them to the players that we bought and what stages in the career they were before, which was literally some of them have played a couple hundred games before, more than the players that, more than what the players are about now. And Mr. Matthias Jaissle reflects, in my view, in terms of experience, the model and the players that we're buying. So if anything, like I said, the club, the model this is it. This is what it's turning into. It's PIF all over. This is the model that they're following, from the players to the manager himself. Now, Mr. Jaissle, who I am older than, let's get into his career. Let's talk about him a little bit more. And then I'll go to the chats and see what you guys are saying, what you guys are thinking. Good to see 30 people in the chat. Absolutely incredible at this late evening. God bless you guys. Please do continue to watch, like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Feel free to comment. All right, so let's get an executive summary of Mr. Jaissle himself. Matthias is 38-year-old German manager, recognized as one of the most successful and tactically astute coaches in the world, apparently. Steeped in high-intensity Red Bull structural ecosystem, he has established a reputation for rapid elite talent development and immediate silverware delivery across Europe and Middle East. He is currently poised to return to European football as the frontrunner, and now we know the Newcastle United manager. He retired early in his career. He was a centre-back. He injured his knee, I think his ACL, at 25 years old. He played his entire senior career under Ralph Rangnick, and Mr. Rangnick is the one that got him into coaching as well. So if you're talking about his early discipler, it's Mr. Rangnick. The Red Bull finisher, spotted early by Mr. Rangnick, Jaissle was brought into the coaching fold at RB Leipzig and Red Bull Salzburg. He rapidly ascended through the ranks from under 18s coach at 25 years old, under 18s coach to head coach of feeder club FC Leipzig, and finally first team manager of Salzburg at 33. So he became, at the first time he became head coach was 33. That's 5 years ago. But really, he's been coaching since he was 25 years old. He's 38 now. So despite being 38, he's already got 12 to 13 years of experience, right? 12 to 13 years of experience, right? So that's pretty good. Elite man management, he transitioned from developing European prospects like Benjamin Sesko and Karim Adeyemi to managing global stars like Ivan Toney, Riyad Mahrez, and Roberto Firmino. So the contrast, the differentiation, unknown stars to absolute household names that he's managed is absolutely phenomenal. Tactical blueprint, he combines the aggressive, ultra-vertical gegenpressing principles. We're going to talk about that. Red Bull school and modern possession-based structure. We'll see a little bit more of that. So let's talk about what he's achieved. Let's see how much more. Yeah, we'll talk about what he's achieved, and I'll see what you guys are saying in the chat. Across his senior management career, Jaissle has maintained an exceptional 70% win rate and averaged 2.25 points per match across 270 games. 270 games, not bad at all. His honors include at Red Bull Salzburg from seasons 2021-2023. He's won Austrian Bundesliga titles back to back, once consecutive domestic titles back to back at Austrian Bundesliga. He's also won the Austrian Cup, won the domestic double by capturing the Austrian Cup in 2022. He's made UEFA Champions League history, guided Salzburg into the round of 16, which was what Newcastle managed to do this season as well, for the first time in club history during the 21-22 campaign. So he's no stranger to the Champions League, notably securing a historic 1-1 draw against Bayern Munich. So, and at this stage of his career, he would have been like 35, 36 years old. So done some remarkable stuff. Moving on to Al Hilal from season 23 to season 26. And what's interesting about this, I want to just cut into this because I was watching there's a show, hopefully we'll get a bit of time I want to show, where he took a risk by moving to Saudi Arabia, isn't it? Because, when people first hear this, you're thinking, well, he's taking a risk in his career. We know it's money motivated. And he was honest about this. Yeah, it's money motivated. Where he risks not being taken seriously. Plus, managers and coaches don't last long in Saudi Arabia, even the successful ones. I think he's the longest serving manager in Saudi Arabia, by the way, in the Saudi League, where he's done 3 years. So exceptional from him. So Al Hilali from 23 to 26. So back-to-back continental champions. That's their version of the Champions League. He won it and retained it. Became the first coach in football history to win consecutive AFC Champions League elite titles in 24-25 season, 25-26 season with the Saudi club. Saudi Super Cup captured the domestic Super Cup trophy in 2025. So he is elite stability. Took newly promoted squad to a dominant third place finish in his debut season, establishing them as a Premier League in terms of Premier power in the Saudi Pro League. I think they had they had, at the time, I think they sold they either sold or they bought 15 players. So in this environment that he's coming into now, he's done it before. Lots of player turnover, lots of players coming in, young players, development players. He's going to see it all again. So there's a brief outline of Mr. Jaissle himself. 13-year, 14-year career. How many 200 plus games, 270 games played, 70% win rate. He looks like he's won 5 trophies in the space of, which include back-to-back Austrian Cups and Super Cup, which includes back-to-back Saudi Champions League trophies, and I think a Super Cup there as well. So 5-6 trophies there that he has won. Managed young developing players at the time, Benjamin Sesko's, Karim Adeyemi, to established high-profile, high-wage-earning, big-egoed players like Ivan Toney, Bobby Firmino, and others. So a very, obviously, part of this very wide-ranging experience, part of the RB ecosystem, was discipled very early in his career by Mr. Ralph Ragnick, who's also responsible, I think, into getting him into management from the age of 25, where he was, coaching under 18-year-olds as well. A very, very, very wide-ranging and expansive career from him. I'm gonna just set. I want to set this up because there's a couple things because I watched an interview of him. Dependent on time, we'll be able to see how much we can see of him. I don't know if you guys I do encourage you guys to watch this. I'm going to go to the chat for the next 5 minutes, but I'm keen to get as much of this video because of him is an interview with I forgot the gentleman's name. What's his name? It's the Mo Show. 239 subscribers. It's obviously he's a big Saudi podcaster. It was a really good in-depth interview and you get a good feel for him. I do encourage you guys to watch the video for himself, but there's a couple things. I watched the video, I took some notes. So there's going to be a couple clips I'm going to show to get you guys take. But before we do, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let me get a drink first. Sorry. I knew it's going to be thirsty work today. It was going to be thirsty work today. Okay, so excuse me. Register Kev says you can try and get your club to go for Mason Mount, starting manifesting. We'll see. Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, so João Palhinia has been talked about in Brazil by ESPN Brazil as potential replacement. Let me know what you guys think about that. If we do get a bit of time, I might. Well, I am going to be talking about him actually. So, but I haven't got a scouting report. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, Paulinho from Thank you for that, guys. We're gonna see if we can get some time on him. Benny B, first time to the show, I think it is. God bless you. Welcome. He says Hall has to be 70 million player. Surely we have to be staging sales over successive summers rather than doing them in one summer, both for practical squad and financial reasons. Yes, absolutely. I don't think we plan to do it this way. We've just had obviously a number of players, and I think the Isak situation, we're still living through that whole Isak and the transfer window. We're paying the price for it today, right? The whole drama around it. Ordinarily, we would want to be a lot more organized, like you said, Benny. And I think we're going through that reset now. But it's a painful, it's a what's the word? It's a whirlwind. It's a messy reset. It's looking like, but you have to kind of look very deep into it to see where amongst the chaos there is some semblance of order. Okay, James says realistically we can't gain 2 and lose 2. That's why he has a realistic sell for us. Yeah, let me see what you guys are saying about. I'm going to look for the ones you guys are talking about. Mr. Jaissle. Andrew says, hope the appointment is confirmed early. It has been confirmed. It would be good for our new coach to spend some time with the players out of the country. That's true. It kind of works out well in that regards at the La Manga training camp, away from the noise on Tyneside. Absolutely. There's going to be some serious talking and communicating and working together. Andrew says length of contract means the club's hierarchy have a lot of faith in him. 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's some extensions in that. Let's see how it goes. Benny says length of the contract 4 years says to me that the club will accept bad Premier League results, albeit not being relegated, so long as he develops the players. Yeah, they're acknowledging that this is going to be a transition season, aren't they? To be fair. But hopefully, what we're hoping for, is a steer in the right direction through that. Register Kev says, Phil, but weren't there talks about your owners selling, or was that only the last? There was the owners were never going to sell. The problem is that our own fans, online especially, keep on. I'm going to be nice and say, they get a bit. There's some fans that get a bit emotional and just say they're going to sell us, they're not talking to us, and then external fans pick up on it, and then you've got mainstream media saying they're going to do it. They're not looking to sell Newcastle United. The problem is that they're very processy and methodical, which gives the impression of them being cold, detached, and uninterested. But they're not. They're very interested. They just have a very governmental, like bureaucratic way of dealing with things, which they are in a way in different areas addressing. But some of that damage has already been done, so they just have to stick it out and see where it goes. James says Sture looks like an unreal player, by the way. Assigning that Manchester United throw in their youth team and let it fester into the depths. Assigning that Manchester United throw in their youth team and let it fester in the depths. Let me know what you mean by that, James. A bit confused. Manchester United. Andrew says, wonder what our young signers think of the manager walking away a week or so after signing for him. I don't know if they signed for him. I don't even know if they met him. I don't know, because I see Ross Wilson all over this, to be honest. But if they did, they'll be curious about it for sure. Benny says, why would PIF sell the club? It is appreciating in value and it will continue to do so long as we stay in the Premier League. PIF haven't financed a stadium or training ground and looking for investment. Ugh, exactly. Well, that, I keep saying they literally got a 30 million, 20 million pound sponsorship deal. They're literally refurbishing the club, plans to grow the club. But all of that. But the thing is, I don't have the same energy for opposition fans because they don't have the time to like look for the nuance and everything else. It's our own. The thing is, it's our own fans that give off this vibe, that tell the stuff and complain online and start atting Rubens and the owners and everything else like that, which is insanity to me. Honestly, it's absolutely insanity. Andrew says, must feel a bit weird though. 100%. 100%. I agree. Couple more because I want you guys to see this interview. I want to get you guys gauge on Mr. Jaissle, his personality, his persona. Andrew says, should have been done in May as soon as season finished, but it was probably circumstance that prevented that happening. Still got a month of the window and 3 weeks until the players before off. Yes, we do. I like the second part of what you said. The first part, we read about the story behind it. I understand why the owners wanted Eddie Howe to stay, especially for continuity. I was saying literally at the beginning of this transfer window, this could be the first time that we have the same CEO, manager, and sporting director all aligned and everything else. That's obviously now gone down the pan. We've got a whole new manager. But we've got a new manager to line it up with our model. So at some point, there will be a transfer window where everybody will get some consistency, hopefully soon. Couple more. James says Ragnick is one of the specialists in attacking style football. He is. It's a big influence on Mr. Jaissle. Andrew says, I told you about Stur. Don't let his age persuade you otherwise. I've watched this lad since he was 14. Fair enough, Andrew. Like I just think again, he's shown it to be good, but the Premier League will expose people for sure. Andrew says, so James says, oh no, sorry, that's not for me. Raymond says, hi to Eddie Howe, win trophy. Newcastle United. Eddie Howe is now appointed. He is. Good to see you. Al Nasser, welcome, sir. God bless you. Says, I saw this interview at a time. Yeah, good. It's a good segue. It's a good interview. I enjoyed it. Andrew says, I've been telling you, he's the best young player I've seen in years. All right. I'll be going back to this, Andrew. I'll be going back to this once the season kicks off and we see where we're at. Okay. So I'm just thinking, what do I want to show? What do I want to talk about from this interview? Because it's a very, very interesting interview. And again, I encourage you guys to see it in its entirety. I will try and bring up two, depending on how we go, maybe 3 to 4 points here. Big up to my man Olu. God bless you, sir. Good to see you. All right, so what do I want to see? What do we want to talk about? You guys tell me. There's a section where he talks about how do you define success. Another one where he talks about player management and experience. Another one talks about staying humbled. Another one talks about his communication. It's a big thing for him, communication. Training linked to match wins. His own way of protecting himself from the noise, which is the hardest part people don't see. Young players, we're going to talk about young players. How do you want to be remembered? Okay. Cool. Okay, I'll talk about that beginning, his beginning, and talks about how this is 3 minutes 45, where he talks about how, his toughest moment, where he talks about, kind of having to, his knee injury, where he's staying at 25 years old. That was one of his most difficult parts.
An ACL. injury.
Hold on, let me just rewind that a little bit more.
It was March 2009. I was somehow a regular starter in the German Bundesliga at Hoffenheim, and I suffered with an ACL injury with some bad side effects too. And that time was hard, definitely. Afterwards, you went through a long rehab, months and years actually, till you got the tough message from the doc back then. I remember he took me in his office and told me pretty honest, pretty clear that with that injury, I will not come back on that level I was before. And that was tough. It was probably the toughest time so far in my life. And for sure, that shaped me also.
What was the biggest learning from that, would you say?
That's a great question, by the way. So this is you told us a tougher situation. What did you learn from it?
Biggest learning, I would say that you can reinvent, recreate yourself, but you need to be willing, start from zero. And I had to back then. So that was for sure the learning factor out of that time.
I do wish Mr. Eddie Howe took this advice. You can adapt. You can start again. You can adapt. You can reinvent yourself. You can start again. Which, perhaps some might say, I don't know if I'm not trying to be glib or flippant, but it's the reality of life. He had to start from zero. He was an aspiring centre back at 25 years old. His ACL went. The doctor said to him, "Mate, you can't do football again." And you can tell that obviously that was a crushing situation in his life. But he went, and what was the biggest thing that he learned? He learned that you have to learn to start from zero. You have to learn to reinvent yourself and adapt. And that's what he did. He adapted and he became a coach. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting, I thought. Let me know what you guys are saying. Al Nasser says he's a leader. I think so. I think so too. Benny says the fact that he retired as a player early because of injury bodes well. So did Fergie and Eddie. Or Clough, Eddie Howe. Yes. Some good things there. Benny says Fabian Herzler. Are you getting Herzler vibes? Yeah. Just get him to say. I'm just getting to say I'll be back. All right. The next part I want to talk about, and he moves on. This is 8 minutes 35. Talks about. So, like I said, he went from ground zero, reinvented himself. He learned to do that. Right. It'd be interesting to see how he puts that into this team, because literally Newcastle are starting somewhere along ground zero, not quite zero, but somewhere along ground zero here. Because how do you define success? This is the next question in 8 minutes 35 seconds. Again, I encourage you guys to watch this interview. It's very, very interesting. Let me see if we can ask questions.
Last May, I think it was a proud moment for obviously the club, the country, and even the Arab region. How would you define success? Is it by winning trophies, or is there a second layer to the definition of success?
How do you define success? Is it trophies, or is there more to it?
The most obviously answer would be yes, titles, trophies. This is always nice, and hopefully this is also often a side effect. But I try to have another point of view on that topic. So we in the coaching staff, we often talk about success. For us, it's helping or supporting others becoming successful. So this gives you a little bit of another angle, especially in environments where you need to overcome permanently challenges, obstacles along the way. Such a AFC campaign is not just a running streak where you go without any challenges. No, there are also setbacks maybe the fans don't see. And this is something what defines success for us.
So overcoming challenges, helping others to overcoming challenges, developing players. Yes, obviously you hope the side effects of this is trophies, right? That is the ultimate aim. But you have to know that there are ups and downs. There'll be challenges, there'll be high times, there'll be low times. Can you dedicate yourself to helping and supporting others and developing them as well as yourself? Uh, is the answer. I will think we all need. That's just life in itself, isn't it? That's what it is, isn't it? That's where uh, we as fans have to learn. Literally, there's going to be some ups and downs in this season, guys. Honestly, guys, I don't know. I don't think some of our fan base are ready for it. I don't think they're ready for it, especially those. I'm going to say it right now. Especially those that really, really, really want. In fact, no, I'm not. Okay, how do I put this? Not that you wanted Howe out, but you wanted Howe out, and now you think Jaissle is the answer. And if you're still expecting for Champions League and everything else, and you think, oh, we're just going to blow up, we're just going to, we're just going to, we went from here, and now we're just going to go like this, you're going to be seriously disappointed. That's my early thing on that. My man David Veitch here, one of the original guys when I first started YouTubing. Good to see you, sir. God bless you. I know I'm doing something right when I see you. He says a hot prospect coach from the RB Group School is very forward thinking and a glimpse of our multi-club model to come. Very good take. Very, very good take. Absolutely. RB like to groom coaches and move to the larger clubs in the group. So there's like a foreshadowing going on, isn't there? There's a foreshadowing going on about this. I agree. That's great take, Veitch. David. It says, Andrew says, do we know about the backroom staff, coaches, and assistant manager? Yeah, they're all coming. They're all coming. I don't know too much about them personally just yet, but they're all coming. And that's probably for another show. My man Wobo Jogs here. God bless you. Good to see you. James says, Phil, go our shared chat. I've sent you the backroom staff. Oh, you sent the backroom staff. Thank you, sir. Whoa, look at that. Incredible stuff. Thank you for that. Thank you, Andrew, for asking the question. Thank you, James, for sending me some stuff on the backroom staff. Where is it? Oh, you got the names. You've got the names there. I don't know them too much, but yes, thank you for that. Let me see if you guys can see this. All right, so Enzo Genova, technical assistant. Alexander Hoser, technical assistant. Florence Kush, technical assistant. There's a lot of technical assistants here. Alexander Pad, goalkeeper coach. Stefan Conrad, video analyst. And Maximilian Fischer, match analyst. I wonder what that means for Suds and all those guys. It should be fine. But I know that Tyndall's already out the door and all those guys there. Crazy time. Honestly, crazy time we're going through. All right, so let me bring it back to the video. Thanks for that. Guys. Couple more. David Veitch says multi-clubs can grow all from board level down to the tea lady. Like that. Al Nasser says his style anti-football doesn't allow you to play your game. Thankfully, we win against him. Throw set pieces. David says most fans do not have a clue how big our club group could become. It is mind-boggling. I'm hearing about that. Like I'm here. I think it's not until it happens that people we know, innit? Best dessert coach. Robert says, Phil, what are the odds Howe is just positioning himself for an England job? Possibly. He's available. He's certainly available. Okay, so the next part I wanted to show, I'm going to show another 5-10 minutes if I can, before we get into his tactics. 1850 player management and experience. That's going to be very interesting to hear. His view on player management experience. It's going to be very interesting to see his take on things. on player management and experience. How does he view it? It's quite a lengthy one, this one. I hope Mr. Mo, the Mo Show, I'm promoting you guys. I know I've got a small channel, but I'm promoting you guys. You're amazing. Please don't copyright me. Like, I think your show is amazing. I'm encouraging people to watch your show. People watch the Man Show, watch the Full Interview. Please, 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 please. Right? please don't copyright me. Jeez Louise.
I would say you always have same standards, and these standards are based.
Okay, let me get to. There's a question that he asked him.
In a weird way, but I want to say special treatment, but not in a negative way. It's almost like a different.
So he's talking about, do you give special treatment, or how do you look at special treatment for, like, you know some of your household name players?
Method of communicating that this person requires this kind of approach. So let me speak to him in this. Let me deal with him in this specific way. Have you felt that some players needed specific treatment?
Good question. And I think I thought a lot about that before I started in Al Ahly. I would say you always have same.
That's interesting. I don't know if you just caught that. Good question. I thought a lot about this before I went to Al Ahly. So remember, what he's talking about before he went to Al Ahly in Saudi. Remember, he'd only been at the RB Salzburg in that group that developing young SUCCESSOR, young Karim Adeyemi, young players, Seawolf, like young players. What he's got now, 19, 18, 20-year-olds, and he's about to go into the Saudi environment, knowing he's going to be managing huge Riyad Mahrez, right, type of players. Some of them might even reach up the same age as him. Big superstars. So let's see what he says.
Same standards, and these standards.
Let me just go back a little bit there. Sorry, guys, I missed it.
I would say you always have same standards, and these.
I'm back to the same point there. Come on.
Before I started in Al Ahly, I would say you always have same standards, and these standards are based by cultural values, we call it, and this gives somehow of orientation, that gives also guidance, and within that you need to be individual, definitely. Let's compare my time in Salzburg. There was a squad with really young, talented players. So
okay. There's a time in Salzburg I had really young, talented players. He's coming back to Salzburg or Newcastle at the moment.
Could treat, I would say, them almost in the same way, every one of them. Here in Al Ahly, you have players who are talented and young, but you also have players who are experienced, almost superstars, for sure. And then it's important that you treat them individually with an individual approach, yes, but also within that framework, because it needs to be fair. It needs to be transparent for the whole group. And the team, it's always the most important thing. And I try, if I need to make tough decisions, to always think about what does the decision make with the group, with the locker room. And this gives you a good idea for the decision making, I think.
So yes, when I was in Salzburg, it was very interesting. It was easier with the young group of players I had to treat everybody the same. First of all, he's a cultural framework, a value system that he establishes within his teams, right? Now, when he had the Salzburg players in Salzburg, with all the young players, young Karim, young Sesko, he had the latitude to be able to treat them all equally. However, when he went to Al Hilali with all these big time Charlies, he couldn't quite do that. However, what was still important was to maintain the value and the framework of what he has. So yes, within the scope, he's able to treat players individually, but he had to maintain the culture of the team itself. So he's saying, I have to think about how my decisions will affect the locker room, which is interesting, which makes me think about there's Edouard Mendy here. There's an interview with Edouard Mendy. I wonder maybe I'll look into that to see how he talks about Matthias himself. But that's his thinking. He's a thinking man. He's a strategic guy, right? He's thinking about the locker room. He needs the backing of the players. He has his idea. He has his culture. He has to maintain it. But he also has to balance it with the individuals and the individuals of the team and what it could mean, which shows very, very high intelligence indeed. And how that will affect things on the pitch will be very, very interesting as well. There's one thing I want to look at as well before we moved on, but before I go to the chats as well. Towards the end, how do you want to be remembered? I'm going to find that, but I'm going to go to the chat as well, first of all, and see what you guys are saying. 5213. How do you want to be remembered? My legacy. We're talking about legacy. How do you want to be remembered? All right, so excellent. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. God bless you guys that are here. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Andrew says, with the teams he's coached being big teams in their leagues, his tactics proves that he must work against a low block. True. We're going to look at tactics. There's some risks in it, though, for sure. David says, Howe needs a good rest and time out. Bless him for his effort and let him find his real level in due course. I totally agree to that. Andrew says, Howe might end up at West Ham next season if Amanda takes over. That would be an interesting one. That would be an interesting one. That's an interesting call. Ian says he looks younger than 30. He does. The interview at the beginning says, man, you're like the most well-dressed coach I've ever seen in my life. Like, even on the touchline, guys, expect this on the touchlines, yeah? No more tracksuits. He's not wearing those. He is wearing suits. He's looking sharper than a pencil, like, or a knife or a blade or a razor. You know, hair whipped back. Expect some sharp suit. It's like, that's his style. That's his way. That's 2 years of Shaw. Shaw will no longer be the most good-looking player in Newcastle United for sure. It will be Mr. The manager. Al Nasser says he benched Tony some games, then Tony locked in and was flying. That's interesting. That's really good insight. Thanks for that, Al Nasser. It seems to be his tactic, his strategy, the way he works, isn't it? I wonder. Alan just says, I wonder if Burn, Murphy, Pope, and Willock will be his favourites. I think Pope is going. Willock is likely to go. Interesting. I saw some rumours, some ITK saying that he's already started talking to Murphy about the team dynamic. So is Murphy going to be captain or something? I don't know. James says, I think Matthias is going to love going to Lewis Miley 100%. I'll be interested to see what he does with him and Bamba, because he's kind of not his type of player. I don't know how he's going to deal with the conductor. Oh, he is his type of player. I think he is. He won't have that problem with superstars at Newcastle because we've sold them all. And also, he makes a group of 5 players as leaders. Yeah, he calls them the player council. That is interesting. I wonder who that's going to be. It's going to be so interesting to see who that's going to be. Guys, if I were to ask you now, who do you think is going to be the 5? Thanks, Al Nasser, for letting us know that. Who are going to be the 5 players in his player council? Who are going to be the 5 players in Mr. Matthias Jaissle's player council? Who are those going to be? Who are those 5 players going to be? A couple more, and we'll end with this last bit about legacy. Andrew says, he looks younger than 38, fair enough. Give him 6 months with our lot and he'll look 90. Hopefully they'll start to look like him. Wobojog says, Phil, your new long hair young manager will look like he was Tuchel's classmate in 2 years. Bro has no idea what is awaiting him. he's got, it's interesting. I'm so tempted to now play this routine thing that he has about how he protects himself. Now that you guys are saying this, I feel like I have to play this thing about protecting himself from the noise. All right, cool. Let me go back a bit because he talks about this. He does talk about managing stress. Like, he's not naive. He's not stupid. He's young. He's only a year, he's only a year younger than me, I think. Where is it? He does talk about it. It's about tough conversations. He's got a bit about talking about tough conversations as well. But let's talk about the toughest part of the job here, and then we'll do one more, and then we'll move on because I do want to talk about his tactics. I'm still the tactical stuff. I haven't got it down to a T, guys. So I'm going to need your help, like, drastically. Literally, I had to rush and put things together. So I haven't quite marinated. It hasn't quite marinated in my mind how it could look. But I am looking forward to it. So we'll just do another 8 minutes on this, and then we'll move on. Okay. So this isn't talking about managing mental loneliness of coaching.
So I try to bring myself in a good stage always. If it's routines in the morning, sun exposure, meditation.
Yeah, there'll be no sun exposure in Tyneside, but I'm sure he'll find a way.
Going in the gym in the evening the same, some routines to have a better recovery. I think this is really important when there's so much going on outside.
Hardest part of the job that people don't see?
The mental load, the pressure. I think it's heavy as a coach, definitely. The tough decisions we need to make as leaders, as a coaching staff. Sometimes they are hard to digest. And there's also sometimes a loneliness, coaching abroad without the family and friends being around.
Big. Coaching abroad without the family and friends being around you.
These are things which are difficult to handle sometimes.
Very, very. I can't imagine being in Germany doing my podcast away from my kids. It takes a toll on you. How about stepping into a job?
So he's well versed in managing abroad. 3 years in Saudi. God willing, he does the 4 years in Newcastle. Hopefully many more successful years as well. But he's got his routine. He's big on the routine. He's so far been able to manage himself. So let's see where that takes it. The next part I just want to show before we wrap up on this interview. Again, phenomenal, guys. Please do watch the rest of it. 57. It's by it's the Mo Show, the Mo Show, MO, the Mo Show. Do look it up. I strongly encourage it. So this next question is: how do you want to be remembered? That's a deep question. Because that's a personal question to all of us, right? We never know when our time's going to be. How do we want to be remembered?
Inshallah. What do you want people to think of when your name is brought up? How do you want to be remembered by the fans, both Ahli, the neutral? What legacy do you want to put out there?
It's a deep question, actually. I think it's always the goal in life that people remember you as a good coach, a successful coach, but also a good human being who, in the best scenario, always left the places or the clubs a bit better than I was founded.
And you have.
Inshallah.
Oh, it was always a big club, always a club known for trophies. It's a top 3-4 club in Saudi. No one will deny that. But when you entered 3 years ago, if it's a graph, it went up for sure.
Yeah, it was a nice journey so far. Just being promoted actually in my first year, then qualified for the Champions League, and now the second year we were winning it. In the third year now we have this
So he's. Let me just remind that part. He said that I missed that part where he said he wants.
Want to be remembered by the fans, both Ahli, the neutral. What legacy do you want to put out there?
It's a deep question, actually. I think it's always the goal in life that people remember you as a good coach, a successful coach, but also a good human being who, in the best scenario, always left the places or the clubs a bit better than.
Well, if he can do that at Newcastle now, that would be amazing. So he wants to be a good coach. Hopefully, I think he was honest. He probably wants to be a great coach, right? And he wants to be able to leave clubs in the best possible scenario. And obviously, the podcaster, Mr. Mo, was talking about how, yeah, you've done that with Al Hilal, and he left RB Salzburg in a better place with more trophies. He's now leaving Al Hilal in a better place with more trophies, and God willing, he will be at Newcastle, putting us in a better place with more trophies as well. Murphy could be our new captain indeed. Tony and the Flying Crumpet says, God bless you, Tony. Good to see you. He says, not excited by a guy I've never heard of. Feels like many of the fan base has the attitude of anyone but Howe. Some do for sure. But I like to think on here right now, we're doing our research. I'm not saying to people, me personally, I'm not saying to people, oh, I should really like this guy or something like that. But we're just finding out about him. I think it's just interesting to know about him, to see where we're at. James says, Bruno, if he stays, Bruno's not staying. It's Miley Hall and Voldemort for sure. What have we said here? Tyneside, they were for beach. So you guys are going to see him down the beach for sure. Warburg says, Phil, a passionate German coach talking about stress is equals an F1 driver talking about losing pace. It's still very fast. That's true. Passionate German idol at 7 p.m. They are built different for sure. Big new Biggin Beach is lovely today, really hot and sunny. You'll be seeing Mr. Jaissle there. Al Nasser says, definitely left them better, but before the season starts in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's not an easy thing, honestly. I think they've been protesting about that as well, for sure. David says, Miley will make a great captain in my view. I think so too. All right, so we've covered the broad parts of who Mr. Matthias Jaissle is, his career, which is his coaching and management career, which started at the age of 25, is now 38. It's around 13 years now from RB's under Mr. Ralph Ragnick to obviously to coaching under 18s, to managing RB Salzburg, and winning back-to-back trophies there, league titles there, before going to Al Hilal and winning back-to-back Saudi Champions Leagues there, and Super Cups, leaving each and every one of those teams in a better state and position. That's going to be his aim also at Newcastle United, coming from that Artbeat Salzburg model. Very, very interesting guy. On top of that, we're going to go into his tactics and everything else, but just a reminder, Newcastle are also getting a new goalkeeper, Mr. Lucas Hornick, who we'll talk about at some point as well. Rumors about Palhinia coming in to replace Bruno Guimaraes, and I think I would imagine we're going to hear more and more about a new midfielder coming in very, very soon. So, like I said, let's talk about Mr. Matthias Jaissle's tactics, how it's likely to be employed at Newcastle United. Now, I've gone straight into kind of integrate into our team. I used, let me fast forward it to show you what I mean. Okay, so I used two reports, scout reports, one from TFA. I always forget what it stands for. TFA, Tactical Football Analyst. That's a Tactical Football Analyst. Where they talked about Matthias Jaissle's tactics and coaching style at RB Salzburg. So this is a 21-22 season. And I used the coach's voice when he was Al Hilal in the 20. This is in April 2022 season. So you get a wider sense of his tactics across two different continents and two different leagues. Hopefully, get some kind of variation of one or some sort of understanding of how it is. Now, like I said, I haven't had a chance to really let it marinate to understand certain things, but I've got some stuff, and I want to. So I need you guys input. I need you guys to explain things as well, to add to get your lot in as well. I've broken it down to 6 parts with the old AI, right? So, and I'm going to be flicking between this screen and the JLA tactics board. Hopefully, it hasn't come off, because the main thing we're going to be talking about is obviously Newcastle. We want to know, what does this mean for Newcastle? What does it mean for the team, right? So the top half of this talks about Newcastle in possession. The bottom half talks about Newcastle out of possession using Mr. Matthias Jaissle's tactics, right? So out of possession, he tends to like to play with a 4-3-1-2, a compact diamond with 2 strikers high and a Roman number 10 between that lines. This is why Johan Manzambi was so vital for Newcastle United. This number 10 role is very, very important. He had Aronson playing in the number 10 role when they were RB Leipzig. I don't know he was the number 10 in Al Hilal. I don't know if Al Nasser or anybody else here knows, but that number 10 role, when we flip back to the Newcastle bit, I've left blank, because I don't think Voldemort. You guys can tell me actually what you guys think. I don't think Voldemort can be a number 10 in the Premier League. I don't think he's quick enough. I don't think he's aggressive enough, and I don't think he has a good enough touch, and isn't press resistant enough, isn't strong enough to hold off at tackles, isn't the best ball carrier to be able to play this number 10 role in the Premier League. I think Nagelsmann discovered that in the World Cup, and hence why he didn't play him, in my opinion. But obviously, if you guys disagree, let me know. I've got to know. So he likes to be, like I said, in that 4-3-1-2 position with the 2 8s, very, very active 8s when they're in possession. Again, forming a diamond shape in behind the 2 strikers. That's going to be interesting how he does that as well. With a sitting number 6. So hence why Mr. Bamba's there. Mr. Bamba, I got for this sake, I've got Miley. I think both Bamba and Miley can do it. Don't get put off by the fact that I got a solo here in number 8. Just put it as an AI discrepancy. But it could be Bamba as number 6, Miley in number 8. Obviously Ramsey on the left there as well. So it's going to be interesting. Right. So, and then the second one talks about build up back 3. So build up back 3. Miley drops between the 6. So in terms of Miley drops between the centre backs, full backs push up high. 8 stay inside. So when he plays playing out the back, what you will see is number 6, in this case Miley, dropping in between the 2 centre backs, Botman and Chow, for instance, where you got the full backs, Livramento and Hall, then joining the 2 8s in attack. what I think he's trying to create, obviously, is numerical overloads at different parts of the pitch, right? I wonder, though, what if he's got a ball-playing goalkeeper, if you got Horsnick pushing up in this case, and Miley, then what happens to the number 6? Do they push up as well? Like, or do they stay where they are? How do these overloads kind of work? I think would be interesting. But what he wants to do is obviously have the two fullbacks pushing up, creating the overloads with the 2 8s pushing up, supporting the strikers up front. So what you essentially get is what 4-6 players in kind of creating overloads on the opposition there. And then number 3, again, in possession, attacking shape in a 3-2-5. It looks a bit messy here. 5 in front, 5 in the front line with from fullbacks. So you've got 5 at the front with the width provided with the fullback. So you've got the 2 strikers. It depends how you want to do it. You can have the 2 strikers, the number 10, and the fullbacks, or the 2 strikers, the 2 fullbacks, and the 1 number 8, for instance. You'd always have 5 if you're really feeling good about yourself. 6 in attack. Inside runs from the 8s and 9s, and they provide the different overloads in different sections here. And what you can see, though, is also that it is a high risk, high reward situation where the flanks are deeply exposed. So you need to have centre backs or defensive midfielders who are very, very comfortable in providing, kind of being comfortable in defending in those wide areas. So before we look at out possession, we just looked at in possession. So let's see how that might look for Newcastle on the JLA tactics boards. Oh, is the chat getting disconnected? I don't. Let me know, guys, if you guys can hear what I'm saying. I didn't realize the chat's getting disconnected. So let's get the old tactics board up. Let me take this off. I'm going to try and remember some of this stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Again, the number 10, excuse me, that number 10 is absolutely vital. I hope it hasn't reset itself. The JLA tactics board, it does that annoying thing where it resets itself. Where is it? Solo Matthias. Where is it? Why can't I not see you here? So yeah, I just think that number 10, why is it not coming up? I want to hear you guys' views. Am I being too harsh on Voldemort? Can he be the number 10? He's staying, he's here. Here we go. It's right at the top. That's why I missed it. Okay, so you guys can see this? Yeah, you can see this. Okay, so this is where we started. We started with that 4-3-1-2 formation. Now, I also have to add is that Mr. Matthias is very adaptable in terms of he will meet the team of where they're at. So if he doesn't think that if he doesn't believe that the 4-3-1 doesn't work and a double pivot works better, he will employ that. He's not scared to do it. What you guys will also notice that I've taken out Bruno from here because I think he's going to get sold. I've also taken out Joe Linton here because I don't think again, you shouldn't believe every news, but I'm of the mindset that he goes. So, but maybe if you guys disagree when you keep him there, let me know. So I've got Mr. Horsnick there because I think he is going to be signed. Let me know who you and what I've kept Mr. Hall out of just pure hope and expectancy that he'll stay. But I do like our back line. I do like our fullbacks, Livramento and Hall and Botman and Chow. And we'll talk more about the goalkeeper, Horsnick, who I think has got a good future, ball-playing goalkeeper as well. So I know that obviously I've got Bamba here in the 6. Let me know if you think he starts with Bamba. Miley in the 8 and Ramsey in the 8. Okay. And I've got just a blank number 10. I've got a blank number 10 because I'm just not convinced that Voltemada will be that guy, though it wouldn't surprise me if he plays. Now, the two strikers, again, I've got Osola and Elanga, mainly because he played Karim Adeyemi at Salzburg. And I forgot who the other guy who played, and Šeško, and Šeško as well. And both are powerful, both are pacey, just like these two are, right? Especially Osola, who I think is probably more close to the profile of a Šeško. Not quite a Šeško, but in terms of, physicality, right? But both are powerful, both are pacey, right? And both provide that pace. But why the number 10? Why do I think Voltemada, for instance, works on number 10 is that the number 10 here will also have situations where he would drop in and provide the overloads where needed against oppositions. What he'll need is the ability to be able to either be good with his back to goal, be able to carry the ball like Aronson was, and support this attack here in terms of running with the ball, carrying the ball, or winning fouls or winning duels, and supporting the number 6 as well. But mainly is with the running and the carrying, which I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced that Voltemada can do this at the pace required and what is needed. I think this is why we're so desperate for Manzambi, in my opinion. Bamba, who probably is obviously the sitting number 6, would be very vital in the situation. But what Mr. Matthias wants to do, for instance, especially when he's doing the build-up play, is I've got Bamba here for now, but I also think that Miley can do this role, Ramsey can do this role in terms of being that sitting 6 or 6 that can pick up the ball from the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper can do this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But what Matthias wants to do is to have his fullbacks go high, and this is where the overload is created against the opposition, right? He wants his fullbacks to go high, and he wants his number 6 to either drop in between the centre backs. So you get this type of situation here. Where's the football? Here we go. Here's the football. Looking for the football. To win it here and to either spray it to the opposition, or even pick up the ball in these situations. So maybe Botman picks it up, or Chow picks it up. Probably Chow, with the 6 out on either side or splitting. But essentially, what happens is that you get this overload here, all the fullbacks joining in. You've got 6 players here, right? With what you're hoping is happening, the centre backs, the forwards are pressing against the opposition high line and creating this gap in the middle. Or one of them is even creating this gap in the middle by their sheer presence alone. So where is it? Here we go. Can I show it here? Does it work like that? Can I highlight it? It's changed up a little. It's updated. So, by the way, big up to JLA. They've updated their thing. Let's do it in blue. So I'm learning as I go. Okay, it's not working like that. Does it work? Better. Here we go. So creating this gap here. Okay. Can I get my arrow back? Here we go. Oh no, I can't get it back. Take it off. Okay, cool. Creating this type of gap here, which then allows, for instance, if Bamba picks it up, is able to carry it forward. Either number 10 picks it up and is able to carry it forward, bringing up the attack with him, like this, with the overloads here, and obviously with the putbacks, with the strikers also pushing the lines back, or being able to get past the first press and carry it himself with the 2 strikers through the back as well. Also, the fullbacks maybe continue to support, or the number 8s continue to support. The idea being they'll look for the places where they can get those overloads on the opposition. So where they can get the overloads on the opposition, either through the number 10 and in those type of areas, either through the number 10, the number 8s, or the fullbacks. So the fullbacks are working very, very, very hard absolutely in this type of system. But I think Hall and Livramento, well, if we're talking about Livramento kind of looking after himself, hopefully avoiding injuries. But I think that's why we definitely need another fullback. I think that's why we definitely need another fullback, rotational fullbacks to make this work. What's good though is that we're reduced to at least one game a week. But the fullbacks are going to be very, very important in helping us to provide these overloads. But also, what's going to be important is the number 8's been super, super dynamic. What I mean by being dynamic is being able to know where the overloads can be created. So finding the pressure points in terms of the opposition and being able to contribute to the attacks. So whether that's Miley, Ramsey in different areas, providing this type of areas. So it's not just the job of the number 10 who's going to be crucial in this, in terms of bringing the ball into the next phase, but it's also up to the number 8s to be able to try and create situations where they're dragging defenders towards them, then they're creating gaps with the fullbacks providing the width, and so that can be spread out. For instance, the ball can be spread out to the fullbacks, whilst also trying to get in behind the opposition, providing cutbacks, providing crosses, or even going through the center where they can. So dynamic 8s, a number 8, a number 10 who can carry the ball, who can dribble, who can hold, who can play with his back to goal, who can drag the team forward either through their ball carrying or their passing, but both preferably, is going to be absolutely important. If you guys remember, Aronson, we played against Leeds, was super, super important to them in terms of what they were doing. Let me see what you guys are saying. Like I said, I'm still letting all of this marinate, so I'm very keen to hear what you guys are saying. Enzo Milo says, please, as the 10. It'd be interesting to see who does come in, honestly. But can you guys see? I want to know, can you guys see why I just don't think Baltimore can do this role? Andrew says, not a fan of Horsnick with his feet. As bad as Pope playing out from his back, mind. Is he? I don't know. I'll have to look at, from what I can remember. I'll do more in-depth research on it, but I've heard good things about his feet. We'll look it up. I actually heard very good things about his feet. Good to see people helping Ian and others to kind of fix the freezing problem. Andrew says, the lack of pace of our centre backs is a worry with the way he likes to play. Yes, not Malik Chow. Malik Chow is definitely up how he wants to play, but definitely Botman. You don't want to see Botman for sure going out wide to defend. I don't think he's bad at it, but I don't think you want that for him. So I agree. Laugh or Follow says Baltimore will be as the 10. He will have players around him. Jaissle will play him there. I think he will be buying a new forward as well. Yes, I think we do need a new forward as well. Who would make room? I thought it'd be Jacob Murphy, but if he's talking to Jacob Murphy, I don't know how that's going to work out. But I do think I agree with you. I think we need a new striker. We definitely need a 10. Definitely need a 10 for this to work. We definitely need rotational fullbacks to make this work. And I think we need another pacey centre back as well. Andrew says, every time I type the name Sean Stur, the chat disconnects. I thought it was you. I don't know if you're the first time on here, but welcome. God bless you. He says, I think Big Nick gets paired with Osola and Wissa. He gets paired with Osola and Wissa. So let's see. So it could be what I think you're suggesting. Let me take this off. Can I take this off? I should be able to take this off. Because he did have Ivan Toney. Now, Ivan Toney isn't as slow as Baltimore, but what Ivan Toney does have is presence. So, number 10, Bamba's here, Livramento, Hall, Osola, Elanga. I do think he'll play Elanga. That's the only thing. Miley, number 10. So say, for instance, I think you would love Osola. I think you would love Osola in the Langa. I really do. But okay, for the benefit of the tape, we'll have Voltemade in the Langa. Voltemade will be more and more like the vocal point. He will be in charge of ensuring that he at least occupies one or two centre backs, preferably two. It gives the space for the number 10. It becomes a 2-2-2 situation with the number 10 going out wide and Langa here. But again, that number 10 has to be super creative. It's very possible. And you've got the number 8 here in Ramsey and Miley. It is a bit more supportive to the fullbacks because you've got the to Botman. So you got the, what am I saying? You've got the option of keeping at least one or two of the 8s behind, which allows, or either let the 8 stay behind and protect, and let the fullback go forward, or the opposite way around. For instance, Miley goes forward and Hall stays behind to protect Botman a little bit. You can do it that way. You can have Bamba joining in the midfield, for instance. You can kind of get this type of situation going on. But I do think, for instance, Botman will need a little bit of protection. Yeah, I can see it. Long answer to your question is, yeah, I can see it. INS says Elanga can play with both feet, so he may play the 10. Very interesting call. I like that. Very, very interesting call. Elanga in a number 10. Okay, so let me see. I'll take off Voltemade, bring back Osola. So I don't get confused. Bamba, Ramsey, Miley, 10, Osola. And who did you say? Elanga. Elanga in the 10. So if we take off Elanga, you could have Willock, but I think Willock is getting sold. Or, I forgot all about this man, Toure. Toure, with his left foot, can invert. Another thing that he likes to do, by the way, I didn't mention this, is have his strikers, so play on the opposite side of their feet. So if you're right-footed, you play on the left side. If you're left-footed, you play on the right side. That's for his strikers. So just not looking at inverted wingers, looking at inverted strikers. Okay, so let's have Toure. Toure with Elanga picking it up. Let me know. I like the idea. What's Elanga like with his back to goal? Can Elanga, obviously, we know that Elanga can dribble. I don't know how well he dribbles in the middle of the park, is the only thing. That'll be my only thing. How well does he dribble in the middle of the park? We know he can carry the ball. We know that he can dribble out wide. He can run into space. But how well is he in these type of tight situations? That'll be my only question. What do you think? Let me know. James, so are we saying that Tour can in Ramsey's position? Because I know he's had his repertoire. I don't think you want Toure playing in a dynamic 8. I think Toure will be rotating with Elanga and with Osola and up front for sure. Toure will go up top. I think Toure will go up top, will join as well. And just as I've watched Hornick a couple of times, Philip, I'm not convinced with him being good with his feet, mind. Fair play. I'll have to research it a little bit more. I'm just looking at the scouting reports. I just think they're a little bit more favourable to him. Wobblejog says, with his feet anyway, Wobblejog says, I think Voltemade is similar to Haaland in the sense that they aren't suited to many systems. Only very few systems can get the best out of them, in my opinion. I disagree for the Haaland one. He worked really well in Dortmund, which was more of a transitional team compared to City, which is more of a possession team. I think for me, Haaland can work anywhere. I think Voltemade is unique because I don't think he's suitable to the Premier League. I think Whistle's putting the cones out. Whistle will definitely play. I haven't used him in this just yet, but he will definitely play. Wobblejog says, no, Voltemade isn't a 10. He's not Kane. He's a striker. He needs a certain system to get the best out of him. I agree. but he needs to be more aggressive for sure. James says, Andrew, okay, someone to Andrew there. The camera switched off. I switched off my own camera for a minute. I know what you mean though. Al Nasser says, solid defensively. The instructions is centre backs never leave the structure. Yeah. So in terms of out possession as well, I did notice that. We're going to talk about out possession in a moment. I worry a little bit for Botman. I'll be curious to see how that works out. James says, we're kind of lucky that Bamba can move up in his own. He's very, very interesting 6. Yes. I think we're all quietly looking at Bamba like this is going to be a season, mate. Lonia says, we've also bought a lot of wingers, so I wonder if he incorporates wingers instead. Yes. I didn't even include Stur in this. I think Andrew would be annoyed I didn't include Stur. Stur would be a good 6 as well. Where does Tor fit in? I think he'll probably be either up front with the strikers. Can he? I think James said this. So can he play as a dynamic 8? I don't know if we get the best out of him, but I think he'll be more up front, left or right side as well, for sure. Tim says, God bless you. Tim says, hi Philip, hope you're well. Crazy day. I love Nicholas Jackson ahead of Voldemort. Do you know what? I think what do you call it? Mr. Matthias Jaissle will definitely love Nicholas Jackson. Because if we're talking about back to goal, I haven't got Nicholas Jackson here. In fact, let me just see if I can add it. Add a home player, forwards, and Jackson. Let's put him as a number 10, right? The only thing I'd say for Jackson is I don't know how it goes for him in tight spaces. I don't think it's bad, but he's definitely good. If we're talking about back to goal, Jackson, very good back to goal, very strong, right? I think the moment he collects a ball from Bamba, for instance, you're going to see Ramsey Miley set off for sure. I can see these type of situations forming for sure because he's good with his back to goal and spraying passes with the fullback supporting. I think he'd be very, very good. So I agree with you there. I'll take him off because it's going to confuse people. Like Jackson doesn't play for Newcastle. They'll be like, what are you doing? So I'll leave it as number 10 for now. A couple of minutes on that because I do want to talk about the out position as well. Tino, Miley are injured. I think Miley's getting himself back. Tino's getting himself back as well. Hopefully they'll be ready for the game. Yeah, that's what backup fullback. I think that's why we were rumored to go for Nico Williams. I'm not scared. What's the word I'm thinking about? Because I would love Nico Williams. I think the depth of Nico Williams and Hall and Nico Williams can play right back as well. But I'm just scared. I'm like, he's such a. I'm like, is he the replacement? Because that's what would really annoy me. Yeah, Andrew says I wouldn't trust Elanga in tight spaces. That's the thing. That is the thing. We are looking to the position we need to get a fullback for sure. I agree. My man Strasbourg Steve. I know I'm doing things right when Mr. Strasbourg Steve is in the building. Guys, this man opened the gates for me, especially when I first started, introduced me to folks as well. It's absolutely incredible. Big up Strasbourg Steve. We're trying to figure out, Steve, if you're still here, number 10. Number 10 is very, by the way, I'm sure you know who Mr. Matthias Jaissle is. I'll be wanting to get your take on him. But we're trying to figure out a good number 10. We need to get a number 10 in for sure to make the system work. Let me know if you've got any ideas. The next one says, I'm super excited about Jaissle. Let me know why. Yeah, someone has asked him. Yeah, everybody says that they wouldn't trust Elanga in outer space, never mind the time space. That is crazy. A couple of minutes before we talk about out possession, but there's so many good questions, good things and comments on this. Tim says Bamba and Miley, CM, Ramsey left wing, and Tory right wing. Inverted wingers coming inside to support and get close to Voldemort in the number 10 with a new pacey striker up front. The West Ham home game was a great template. Okay, so let me say this again. Bamba and Miley, CM, Ramsey left wing, Tory right wing. Okay, let me do this again. So Bamba, Miley, CM. What did he say? Did you say Tory left wing? No, Ramsey left wing, Tory right wing. Ramsey left wing. Very interesting. So Tory, Ramsey. Okay, so who's the number 10 in this? You got a Voldemort up front as well, isn't it? So so you got Osolo off the field. Okay, so he looks a little bit like this. Number 10, Voldemort. Have I got all the players? 4. Yeah, I do, 10. So who's the number 10? Is it Voldemort up front? Let me just double check what you're saying. Ramsey left wing, Tory right wing, and get close to Voldemort in the 10. Okay, Voldemort doesn't say with a new pacey striker up front. The West Ham game was okay. The pacey striker will be Osolo. So unless you want another one, I wouldn't mind that. So number 10 is Voldemort. So you're saying have players around him. I'm assuming the fullbacks will be going up. I want to say the structure works, Tim. Like there's nothing. I agree with the structure and the base, especially Miley and Bamba. That base is strong. I just don't think Voldemort is good back to goal. I don't think he's good at holding off the challenges. I don't think his first touch is good. I don't think he's good at shielding the ball very well. I can see him giving up a lot of possession in bad areas for that. As a number 10, it's so important not to give up possession in these type of areas. To make this work, you need a Rogers stroke Felix Nemeka type of player. Johan Manzambi, basically, right? I just don't see it in Voldemort. When we say just put players around him, we said this before. Even with the players around him, it doesn't quite fit. And the problem is when you put players around him, there's no more runners. The striker becomes isolated, right? So look, the striker becomes isolated. There's no one around him. Now somebody then will say, okay, well then the fullbacks have to go further up. Okay, the fullbacks have to go further up. But then what then happens is then we're left exposed in the wide areas. So the striker is isolated. He's now got players around him. But then these areas are going to be isolated anyway. But all this because of one player. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas if you got a player if you got a number 10, come off. If you got a number 10 who can hold off the ball himself back to goal, what you then can get is number 8s doing this stuff. And you've got some flexibility. The fullbacks have some flexibility of, I don't always have to jump up. I can stay where I am and protect the flanks, right? Or I know because my number 10 is really, really good and he likes to turn on the left or the right, I can join up and support the number 8s and cause overload because I know they can turn and run. Right? And then you got these type of situations, but I think Voldemort, it's a big season for him if he stays. But I agree with your structure, Tim. I just is Voldemort is the weak link in that situation for me. A couple more, and then we'll talk about possession. Warburg says, I think Haaland is just too good. That's why he can do the PEP system to a very good level. But I think the BVB system is what actually suits him the most. The Newcastle, especially the Newcastle 22-23 season, 21-22 season, He would have been magnificent. Christopher Hoskins, God bless you. Good to see you. He says 4-2-3-1 in his last game. He uses 4-2-2-2. Yeah, he does. 4-3-3 and 4-2-3-1. Jackson has a number 10 or a false 9. Can do both. I was just seeing if he can do the number 10. Which I think he can do, especially back to goal. My only thing is dribbling in tight spaces is where I worry a little bit, but I think it'll be interesting. Will he get a few of his own transfers? He's part of, he's used to the Salzburg group. He'll take this transfers, whether the transfers the sporting director gives him, which is why he was hired. Big up to you, Adrian. Good to see you. Thank you as always for everything that you do on the show. God bless you, sir. Is there a chance he says go and get my boy in 10? Who's number 10 in Saudi? Let me know. Struggle says as a 10, I want us to get Gilberto Mora. Now that you've given me someone to research, thanks for that, Steve. One more, and then we'll talk about our possession, and we'll close up. Tim says, fair points, Philip May. I just hope if Baltimore is up front, he himself isn't isolated like he saw a lot of when he was there last season. It's a conundrum. It was problematic with Baltimore because even when we were narrow and tried to support him like we did many times, even then he wasn't good enough to hold up. Even by him, like one-on-ones, he wasn't good enough to hold up. And it just became miserable. All in all, when the ball goes up front, it has to stick. I don't even think Osola is that very good at making the ball stick. Wissa prefers to play in behind. So really, we need a target man. We need a target man and a number 10. Strasbourg, sorry, I missed one there. Hoskins says, Philip, scratch our wingers. He will ask for wingers who can think for themselves and have the ability to get players, as wingers aren't that level. He is big on individuality. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. Strasbourg says, or for a number 10 option, I'd love to get Evander. He's Brazilian. I have to look these guys up. They sound phenomenal. Ian says, Mora is the young Mexican lad in the World Cup. Oh, that kid. Yeah, the whole world is watching him. I'll be surprised if we get him. All right. So let's have a look at out of possession. Let me bring this. Can I bring this up? I'm going to have to bring this down first. God bless all the guys that are here. Please do, if you're enjoying the show, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, for somebody who was asking me something. Sorry, missed that. Let me go back. Okay, so out of possession is going to be crucial because this is where the risk comes from Mr. Matthias Jaissle. So you've got out of possession, you've got high press of a 4-1-3. We're going to go back to the pressing, guys. It's going to be kamikaze, baby. We're going to go back to the high press, guys. 4-1-3-2 out of possession. Two strikers press the centre backs, midfield blocks, central passes, and protects the middle, which is what Eddie Howe did. This is why Gordon was so important. So you got the 4-2-3-1. So four at the back here, two with the high press, midfield block, central passes. So Ramsey and the 2-8. So the two strikers. So I'm going to bring in an opposition here because that would help us. That will help us to see how we are out of possession. JLA. Here we go. Again, big up to JLA. Big up to JLA. Phenomenal, guys. It doesn't really matter who the opposition are. Make it Arsenal. They're not my favorite guys at the moment. Only joking. All right, so 4-2-3-1. So he's saying the two strikers press from the front. So I got Toure and Osola. What does he say next? Two strikers press. So two strikers press the CBs, midfield blocks, central passes, and protects the middle. Okay, so the midfield blocks, central passes, So then you will get, so it's midfield block, center potential passes, and then what? And protects the middle. Okay, so, okay. But we always keep the 3, right? So we've got, that's what confused me. I'm thinking, what's Voltemade doing here? Let me keep it as a number 10, because Voltemade is going to put me off a little bit here. I feel like I sound so anti-Voltemade, but I'm not. Ramsey, so he wants to he wants to make sure you don't pass through the middle, which is not unusual. Like, this is this is like a standard procedure for most coaches. Eddie Howe was the same. That's why Gordon was so important. I think Sola is going to be vital in the situation, right? With the fullbacks a little bit more interesting how they use the fullback. So let me see. Yeah, got some options there. Okay, so I can imagine, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So if the Arsenal, for instance, in this situation, so you've got the fullback, so you've got a 2 center forwards blocking the what do you call it, on the 2 center backs, which probably forces the goalkeeper to come out a little bit or to spread the passes out wide. Excuse me, sorry guys. The number 10 will be on their number 6, on the number 10 in Erdegaard, for instance. I imagine Bamba, who's in number 6 as well, will be on the striker. So you've got some good layer of protection here. I can understand it from those type of point of view. You'll have to have fullbacks that are pushing up high, but it's risky. You're not going to necessarily get these Hollywood balls in all the time, which I understand. So I can see this press, but it has to be coordinated. If anyone gets anything wrong, say for instance number 10 gets it wrong and Erdegaard's able to change, is able to, for instance, to get the ball and move, Saka's gone, Havertz has gone, Trossard has gone. All of a sudden, well, Trossard doesn't play for them anymore. It could be Vinicius Jr. Jeez Louise, that's going to be some scary stuff. Okay, so you're going to get these situations here. And like I said, if I'm the opposition, I'm going on Botman's side rather than Chow. So those type of situations can happen. Or if you've got a flexible number 6, I'll put Bamba there, for instance, with his ability, and have Botman with Havertz. Probably a better matchup in that way. It could work. It could work. It's not a bad, but the coordination has to be ready. He's going to have time. It has to be coordinated for sure. The goalkeeper will be forced to put it out wide. You can imagine Sola will be blocking the passes there. Either the fullback pushes up and goes for it, or with Chow going out like this and everything moves over like this. So then you can block. You can hem them in. Either force them to go for these Hollywood balls up front, which should be dealt with, or to try and get past the player here. Similar situation with, for instance, if it goes out wide here, you've got, again, players moving over, protecting passing lanes, with meeting the fullback, Bamba going out wide, Botman sticking with Havertz. But it's very intense, it's very high. When it works really, really well. You could see the resurrection of Newcastle 21, 22, 22, 23 were really, really good with the press. I personally don't mind it. It will be like muscle memory for some of the players that we've got. It'll be something a little bit new for others. Always risks out wide. We talked about that. Let me know what you guys think. So how was it out wide for you guys? What's your thoughts? Like I said, I think to cover I think it can work. My only what do I want to say? My only critical point is that I don't want Botman out wide if Botman is playing. You need a 6 who's defensively disciplined and protecting these type of situations. And this is why I know, for instance, Andrew's not here, but I know he loves Stur, but I don't think he's 18. He's 18. Right. So we need obviously Bamba's there to be the 6, and he's going to be very important in kind of doing this as well. And if he's not available, I think Miley will be exceptional as well. So you got these type of situations. where it's possible, but I don't want Botman out front. I think his best position would be in these type of central areas, fighting, being physical as well. But again, number 10 is crucial. I think from everything I've seen, in and out possession, I think a target man is crucial. And I think in a striker, and I think a number 10 in that Morgan Rogers, Johan Manzambi profile. That'll be my main thing. If we're going to play this way, if we're going to do this, to make it work, that'll be my main thing, quite honestly. But let me know what you guys think. Johan, first Johan Manzambi for a minute, but Johan says, Philip, check email, Aduro, Como, goalkeeper. Emil, I got an email. Emil Aduro is the Como goalkeeper last season on loan at Cremonese. Look at his stats. What, is he really good? Let me know. Is he the player we're getting or something? Let me know. Let me see if there's been any news. I'll be so surprised. We've had a whole day of news. Haven't seen anything. They're saying Wozniak's arrived. Okay, cool. Okay, sorry, I have to double check. Christopher Hoskins says, Philip, our new manager said he doesn't like players who stick to formations. He wants skillful wingers who aren't boring. He wants free thinkers. Have I read this already? Are you repeating it? Have I read it? I think I've read this already. James says Strasbourg. Unfortunately, he's out. Okay, sorry, it's talking to someone else. 2025. It actually makes sense now that we're talking about Palhinia. If it is Palhinia, let me check something, because we are talking about stats here. Because this number 6 is important. The number 6, number 10, and the target man is super important. Because I was thinking, when I first heard Palhinia, guys, I was thinking, are we overdoing it here? Let me get my old data MB up. Let me get my data MB up. Pro, because we're paying for this. Let me show you guys what I'm seeing. I was thinking, are we overdoing it with Palhinia? But maybe we're not. Let me show you guys can see this. Can you guys see this? Okay, so this is blank at the moment. Thank you to all those that are still here past midnight. Please do like, share, continue to like, share, and subscribe. You've been absolutely phenomenal. While we're looking at Palhinia, how do you spell Palhinia? João Palhinia, Tottenham. So that's him at Tottenham. Dual successes and possession 1. Now, that was a very poor Tottenham team, by the way. So I want to see him when he was at Fulham. Well, he's going to see Bayern Munich Palhinia as well. João. All this time, I didn't know his first name is João, because I always just knew him as Palhinia, which is crazy. Jeez, he must have not played for Bayern Munich at all, because there's no you have to be on DMB, you have to play 1,000 minutes or more in your respective league. So that lets me know that he hasn't played that, which is a bit harsh. Come on, I should know how to spell Palhinia. It's got it right in front of me, Pal. Why is it not coming up? João Pal. Here we go. So this is him through Tottenham, relegation fight in Tottenham, and Fulham. Obviously, 3 different systems. So be mindful of that. But it comes across as he's always been asked to do a very similar thing, which is win possession, so intercept balls, loose passes, so that shows positional intelligence, and win your duels, physical contact. Both of these things he has been elite at throughout the last 3-4 years. He's in the 92 plus percentile throughout, 92, 98, 96 for possession one, and he's in the dual winning 80, 90s. Okay, I understand. If I'm looking at the 6 of how Mr. What do you call it? Mr. Oh, you guys can't see it. Sorry. How Mr. Matthias Jaissle plays. It makes sense. It does make sense. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me, guys. Oh, sorry. What would Jokes feel as a permanent resident of the chat? Appreciate sentiment, but if you want to send in anything our way, we'd appreciate that. Jordi Boadidi, you got there. You can even loan him back for a season. Absolutely not. You're getting the Brazilian Bruno Gomes. Big up my man Preach. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for your support. God bless you. James says, I think it's if the fans give him time and understand he needs the season to get the whole team comfortable and working well, I think they'll consciously be happy about next season progression. Could be mad. That'd be an ideal scenario, James. The important thing is what you said, that if starts wars, creates peace, if the fans give him time. That's the thing, isn't it? Ian says, after an immense week at Newcastle, can I just take a moment to congratulate Shola Miobi on his new job? Barely mentioned it, but yeah, he's like, what is it again? Ambassador or something. Lets you know how, they just, anyway, it wasn't very good. James says, I wonder how if the right wood could be a striker instead of a right winger. Could be. I wouldn't be surprised. Elliot is a good number 10. What Elliot? Elliot Anderson. Oh, Elliot Thingy, your guy Elliot. We were linked to him recently, actually. He's too small though, man. He could do the job. All right, folks. So that's Mr. Jaissle. The tactical breakdown. Certainly a lot of flexibility. I think we've got probably for what he needs. I think we've got about 70-80% for what he needs to make this work. But in my opinion, we definitely need a number 10 to make it work, for sure. We definitely need number 10 to make it work, and we need a target man, in my opinion, to make it work. You say my opinion, but it is number 10, a target man to push the lines back. Hence why Ivan Toney was so important. It looks like he's probably going to go to Voldemort to do that. Let's see. A target man, a number 10, and obviously we've just talked about it, and probably another 6 probably, now that Bruno's going to leave, but another 6 to rotate with Bamba, because it's going to be a big year, and he's young, and Palhinia is a veteran, and he knows the league very, very well. And what he does in elite level is win possession and win duels. And in a system of Matthias Jaissle, that's exactly is what you need. So it probably it more than makes sense to have to be going for a player of the same ilk as Mr. Palhinia. The only problem with Mr. Palhinia is, as we saw, winning possession and winning duels is about all he does. To be fair to him, I don't know how the passing and progressing forward is very, very limited. So yeah, that number 10, I think, is probably very, very crucial for what we're trying to do. So on tonight's show, you guys have been absolutely phenomenal. We've covered the Eddie Howe exit, everything in and around that, multiple reasons why he left. There's nothing just to do with transfers. He knew about the transfers. He spoke about those players months ago. he himself had already hinted to the club after the Fulham game that he was ready to go. And I think they've been planning ever since, but he's been in and out about it, went on holiday about it. And I think the challenge has just proved a little bit too much for him. And he was honest about that, so credit to him. In steps Mr. Matthias Jaissle, and he's more than willing to meet the challenge. Already a 13, 14-year career in football, even though he's only 38, started at 25, coaching under 18s at RB Salzburg. We talked about it. Talked about essentially how everywhere he's gone so far has won trophies, back-to-back league titles at RB Salzburg, with the young players like Šeško and with Karim Adeyemi and all those other guys there, and winning the Super Cup there before turning his career totally and going to Saudi and playing with established legacy stars, Riyad Mahrez's, Ivan Toney's, Bobby Firmino's, and managing those egos and learning how to do that. And winning the Saudi version of the Champions League back-to-back, taking a team that was, just newly promoted as well to 5th to 3rd place as well. So really proven to be successful and in what he does. We looked at his interview for the Mo Show, where you got a good take about the type of manager that he is. Communication is important for him. Strategic thinking is important for him. How he thinks about how his decisions will impact the dressing room. He talks about his legacy, improving people, understanding life's challenges, ups and downs. Also, he's very good at regulating himself so far. People were joking and bantering about him losing his hair and good looks playing for Newcastle United, but he's very aware and mindful of how to look after himself. So that was good to see. But then we also broke down his tactics in and out of possession, which is going to be front-footed football for sure, risky football. We have to get our press and our coordination right for sure. But I think it's workable. I do think in the current system, I think we do need a target man striker. Though I wouldn't be surprised if they give that role to Voltemado to do. We definitely need a number 10. Good of his back to goal, carrying the ball. Johan Mazambi / Morgan Rogers type of player. And I can also see why we're going for another number 6 in like a Palhinia type of role to support Bamba, because the number 6 role is super, super important. We're going to need another midfielder anyway because Bruno Guimaraes is leaving. We didn't really get to talk about that too much. But we've also got a goalkeeper coming in Horsnick. We didn't get to talk about that too much either. But hopefully we'll be able to do that in the future shows coming up. But I'm excited. To conclude, I was nervous and excited. I am beginning to see, the more I talk to you guys about it, the more I can beginning to see the order and the chaos that is happening at Newcastle. But the next 3-4 weeks is crucial. The handover, we're going to see Howe's goodbye video. We'll talk about that. We're going to see, hopefully, Mr. Jaissle with Howe. And that'll be an incredible succession, doing it that way. Probably going to see a goodbye video from Mr. Bruno Guimaraes too. Maybe all 3 of them there. I don't know. But there's a change in the guard. It's just been done in a very, what appears to be a very chaotic way. There's new players coming in, new coach coming in, as we said. But there's still a lot to be excited about. We're going to go through a little bit more pain. We've still got a few more things to go through. But I am excited. We need to go through the painful parts. We need to bring in those players. Mr. Janssel's got, I know it feels like it's late in the window, but the players have just come back in. They would have just getting their touches, getting their fitness. They wouldn't have, he will have 3 weeks before the Liverpool game to get his ideas, but he'll also have obviously the rest of the year to really enforce himself into the team. But it's up to us fans to support them all the way, especially through the downs, especially for the ups and downs. So I believe that we can do that. I'll read a couple more chats before we go, but I'm backing him. I'm backing the team. I'm backing the club. I think we've got a couple more painful situations to go through. But in terms of this transfer window in this season, with Bruno leaving, Joe Linton leaving, but the season is certainly fast approaching. James says, I think we might just do another stream to try and work out these tactics after the Spanish week, so we have a good idea around this. Exactly. And I'm going to be actually, I don't know, let me know how many of you guys are going to the preseason game at St. James's Park, as it called, Malta Cup this time, visit Malta. I'm going to be down there for the 2 days. So I'm going to be videoing that as well, talking about the tactics as well. So I hope if any of you guys are down there, make sure you check for me, say hello. The new guys, my full support, says Ian, but we should temper our expectations. Absolutely. And when the window closes, we will be talking about those expectations. They should be doing the live. They should be doing the live press in Spain. Okay, that'll be interesting. That'll be super interesting. He's 10 years younger than Eddie, and Eddie is a young manager. Exactly, that's the thing. Johan says, Emil Aduro Comenes, 175 shots, 125 saves, 11 clean sheets, penalty saves. You really like this guy. This is a very bad Comenes relegated team. He is cheap, 29 years old. Yeah, 29. I don't know if you noticed, but we're not buying 29-year-olds at the moment. I'll look him up there, but I think Mr. Horsnick is going to be the keeper. Ioneer says, I'm so excited for this new era. Can't wait. I love that. That's a great way to end the show. But guys, make sure you look after each other. And as always, God bless you all. Damn it, channel. And it's not even coming off.